Welcome to Worldwide Business. I'm Kathy Ireland. The healthcare sector has always been a human-centered industry. Within this industry, precision medicine, big data, and interchangeability are today's most important topics given the shift to value-based care. Our guests today believe all three are required for achieving predictive, high-quality, and low-cost health care, and that technology will play a big role in alleviating fragmentation. Tashfeen Suleman, CEO, and Sahar Arshad, COO of CloudMedx, a health analytics company, join us to explain more. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Tashfeen, the healthcare industry is traditionally slow to adopt to new technology. What types of changes are you seeing, and do you feel it's becoming more innovative in this industry?
So it really depends on the lens you look at it from. I think healthcare right now is at an inflection point because of large computing power and so much data being available. Companies that are doing artificial intelligence and big data analysis are really starting to make waves. And as long as they can help physicians improve their workflows and make patients feel like their lives are improving because of this, they're going to adopt it. So it's slowly changing, and I think it's going to have a big impact going into the future.
Sahar, could you please tell us who is CloudMedx, and can you describe what your platform does?
All right, so CloudMedx is a clinical artificial intelligence platform that helps doctors with improved medical decision making. So what the platform does is that it reads through large troves of data, detects patterns, and provides physicians with intelligent options so that they can make intelligent decisions about patient care.
Well, let's take a closer look at how CloudMedx is improving patient outcomes in this Worldwide Business Field Report.
In recent years, the healthcare delivery process has become exponentially more complex. With a highly diverse mix of healthcare payers, providers, and health systems around the country, the process has become overwhelmed. While there is an endless amount of patient data available, providers aren't able to efficiently tap into it to reduce workflows and keep costs down. CloudMedx has created a platform that melds the worlds of healthcare delivery and large-scale data computing.
At CloudMedx, we are providing these secure tools to both the doctors and the patients so that they can take effective control of their health.
The healthcare industry about 10 years ago started putting all the patient records in an electronic record, and that data is basically trapped in that system. What CloudMedx does is they analyze that information and they serve that up to our care providers in a much more easy to use way. So Sutter Physician Services decided to join forces and partner with CloudMedx and their customers to help them reach out to their patients. So CloudMedx will serve up the important information about the patients and the care plan, and then our agents and caregivers will then do the outreach calls and help those patients. So the patient service representatives that actually make the phone calls have a lot of information thrown at them, and what the CloudMedx software allows us to do is make that data actionable so they can see it clearly, they can have a great conversation with the patient and deliver the right amount of care.
Physicians are big fans of CloudMedx because it takes a lot of time away that they used to have to spend on the electronic medical record. For instance, it can take about an hour to read through a very complex chart. CloudMedx can cut this to a fraction of the time. For example, if it's difficult to know whether or not to admit a patient, whether or not to give a certain medication or what test to get, CloudMedx can assist in this decision. And ultimately, the patient and I make the final decision together, but at least we can rest assured knowing that we've considered all the possible options.
Tashfeen, what prompted you to start CloudMedx?
Well, it was my father's adverse drug event that made us think about starting the company. And my father had an adverse drug reaction that led to a subdural hematoma, which is kind of a brain bleed on the outside of the brain, which went undetected for over a couple of months. He went to the emergency room once or twice, and they couldn't make a correct diagnosis. And then one day he just went into a coma, and they rushed him back to the emergency room for an emergency brain surgery. But that had been going on for about 4 to 5 months, and what we felt was that using technology, we could have detected it sooner or made an impression on a doctor to move in that direction. So that's what's prompted us to start the company.
Oh, how
He's fine now,
frightening.
but
He's okay?
yeah, he's okay now, but it took us a couple of months to get him back on his feet.
Oh, that's so frightening. So had you had CloudMedx, this could have been eliminated, this?
Yeah, so our company takes the entire patient's history and analyzes it and provides it to a doctor with insights so they can, improve their medical decision making. And we're in no way replacing the doctor. We're
Right.
assisting them in making different choices.
And Sahar, digital health is a very crowded space. So what sets CloudMedx apart?
It is noisy and it is fragmented, but what we are doing is that we are very deeply clinical and we are deeply integrated in physician workflows. And that's not an easy job to do, and we are able to do that because we have a very stellar team. And what sets us apart is our technology, and we use natural language processing that can read through free text, free notes, like unstructured data, and then from that data and other data, provide insights, which are very deeply clinical. And I think there are really few companies in that area.
And Tashfeen, who specifically is CloudMedx designed for?
So it's designed for the 3 Ps, physicians, patients, and payers. And the idea is if you can collect all the data and present it at the right time at the point of care, it can impact everybody, both clinically as well as financially, because you can make the right decisions at the right time.
So can you talk about an everyday example of how this would be used?
Yeah, so if we're deployed in the hospital, an example would be a heart patient comes in, gets admitted. There's thousands of monitors that monitor him. There's a number of alerts, and there's a lot of alert fatigue that a physician faces in making critical decisions. So we bring that alert fatigue down to a bare minimum and only the essentials. For example, an example is anytime the patient's vitals go out of range, or hyperkalemia is a typical example that can lead to either a congestive heart failure or a heart attack.
Right.
So we can monitor those and only send alerts when they're above a certain threshold for a doctor to intervene. And that we're seeing is reducing the physician fatigue when they're treating patients and only giving them the right information at the right time. But also, what do you do with that information? Once you get that information, should we order a test? Should we adjust the medication? So we provide those insights based on the best practices of the big data that we're able to pull together.
And it's also a complete loop. So when the patient, let's say this patient, the same CHF patient is discharged from the hospital, we, with the patient's consent, we monitor the patient's vitals, such as if the blood pressure goes out of range or the heart rate increases. We assign a case manager to the patient so that once such an event happens, they get an alert and they can contact the patient and see why that happened. Is the medication not working? Is the patient not taking any medication? Or if the patient needs to be brought in. So we close the complete loop from the alerts from the hospital to the home.
And everybody gets the shared information.
Yes.
Sahar, has the Affordable Care Act impacted CloudMedx's success?
Yes, because of this, a lot of providers are now using electronic medical records, which used to be paper charts before. So we have a lot of data that is electronic now. And because of that, we can do a lot of analysis on that data so that every patient is not a clinical trial. Through data, we know what's working and what's not working. So that's helped a lot.
And to what do you attribute that success?
I think because of the new rules and regulations, we now have this huge amount of electronic data available, and we can do some really interesting stuff, make workflows more efficient, and improve patient care, basically.
Oh, wonderful. And Tashfeen, who's currently using your platform?
So within the hospital setting, there's a number of users that we have. So frontline doctors in the emergency room and inpatient facilities who are using it at the point of care with real-time alerts. Then the second user within a hospital setting would be an executive, because they would want to know which treatments are working, which medications are working, which procedures, what direction the hospital is going into. So it brings those clinical insights at a large population level for an executive to look at. And the third user would be a patient who's at the center of the entire care. They can track their own health. They can make informed decisions of what to do next. And so we were keeping all three looped in.
And what kind of feedback are you receiving?
So the doctors who are using this in the front lines, we're seeing stuff like, it's improving our workflows, it's reducing our fatigue. One of the biggest problems doctors have is because of the electronic medical records and so much data that they have to capture, it's taking them away from patient care. They're taking away the face-to-face time with patients. And so the feedback we're getting is that we're reducing the fatigue, we're reducing the points per click, and we're giving them more face-to-face time with their patients.
Usually technology adds to the time that we spend in the hospital per day, and it takes away from time that we could be spending at the bedside. What we've done is to make sure that the hour that it takes to search through the electronic medical record for a very complex patient can be brought down to minutes and sometimes seconds when we're looking for that vital piece of information that can help us decide whether to admit, what drug to give. And this isn't replacing medical decision making. The doctor is still the doctor. It's more an assistance.
So Tashfeen, in your opinion, how will patients start getting more involved in their health on a day-to-day basis?
They're already involved in day-to-day care of health. They have remote monitoring devices, they're checking their phones, tracking their movements, and when somebody gets sick, they Google search their symptoms. So they're already deeply entrenched in taking care of their own health.
Right.
But that data is not curated. It's all over the place.
Sure.
You Google headaches, everything comes out, right?
Right.
So we're trying to curate that data specific to that patient and making it more relevant to your patient zero, what's showing you what's relevant to you. And so I think everybody is taking care of their own health, right?
Sahar, what do you think are the easy wins in healthcare technology, and which constraints will likely take longer to solve?
I think there is no easy win in healthcare. There are no shortcuts because you're dealing with patient lives and you have to be very methodical. You have to take a lot of consideration into account, and it's an incremental process. I think it will be evolutionary, not revolutionary. And so it's a long process, and the primary reason is being the patient life being such an important factor that it has to be a long process, and I think we are headed in the right direction.
Wonderful. And Tashfeen, can you please tell us about your corporate culture?
So it's a very diverse culture. It's a female-led organization. We have people from all ethnicities and color working in the company. We're a team of neuroscientists, data scientists, engineers, doctors, and when you see that mix of people getting together, you feel like you can do anything in the world. There's nothing holding you back. And that's what I'm excited about.
And it's a very fun environment. Everyone is motivated by their own personal stories. Everyone has had some kind of experience with healthcare, and they're motivated to bring a change.
Sure. Well, it seems that with your platform, CloudMedx is allowing physicians to be physicians as opposed to data entry personnel by generating key clinical insights for patients at every point of care. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.